It's your girl, the Grown Woman Gamer, and today I'm coming at you with another fire commentary. Today I'm going to be talking about James Harden's lazy play and Russell Westbrook's crazy play. But before I get into that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitch. I'm Grown Woman Gamer on Twitch. Like this video, comment whether you agree or disagree. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Anyway, let's get into it. So, if you've been following this year's NBA season so far, we're just a few weeks in. There are a few things that are standing out, but we're going to talk about two things today. And I'm going to start with your boy, James Harden, the step back king himself. So, if you don't know, this year there's a bit of a rule change where they're not going to be calling these fouls where people are clearly kind of selling a foul on an unnatural move into the defender while they're shooting, or doing some weird thing that they would normally call as a foul, but it just really clearly is just a bit of acting and performance on the part of the offensive player holding the ball. And I'm gonna say that this rule was literally put in place in large part due to James Harden manipulating the rules to get to the free throw line, I think on average 12 to 14 times per game in previous seasons. There are other players that have taken advantage of this same rule, but no one who's nearly as bad as James Harden has been in the last couple of years. So you may also know that Kyrie Irving is not playing with the Brooklyn Nets due to his unwillingness to get vaccinated. So you have the two stars, Kevin Durant and James Harden, led by a mostly aging supporting cast and a few young guys who are just getting their sea legs in the NBA. So it's a much more challenging situation than having three go-to elite players that could carry a game on any given night. And it's made even more complicated by the fact that James Harden's old bag of tricks is not working any longer to get the same scoring production that he has in previous seasons. If you can get to the free throw line 12 to 14 times per game, that's an opportunity to get somewhere between 24 and 30 points roughly per game just at the free throw line with no one defending you, without having to really exert much effort. Now, I want to put out a disclaimer. James Harden was injured last year, and allegedly, part of his recovery was to not put too much weight on his hamstring. And I understand your hamstring, it's important to make sure that it heals properly because if you really think about it, any kind of weight bearing exercise could potentially exacerbate the injury. So I get it. He was not able to go full force in the offseason to prepare for this season. And there's a level of pressure on him to perform because of the fact that Kyrie Irving is not there, so that KD is not left kind of holding the bag, trying to figure out how to lead this team without a second guy who can support a, hopefully a winning effort. But he does not look like he is in shape once again. And the offensive strategies or offensive tactics that he used to use are no longer working. So if you watch some of the more recent games, you can see just like a level of complacency when it comes to him as a one-on-one offensive player. So he's throwing up shots that if you really take a step back and you look at it, it doesn't even look like he's trying to make the basket. It looks like he's shooting the shot or making an offensive move specifically to try to get a foul. And in today's NBA, 2021, 2022, that is no longer a go. You're going to have to actually figure out how to be offensive, attack the basket, shoot potentially defended threes, or run off picks to get open to score. And so we're seeing games where James Harden is scoring like 20 points a game or less. And that is just not going to do if the Nets are going to become a dominant force in the East, which leads me to believe that there are other teams that are going to dominate in the East that no one's thinking about. Teams like the Chicago Bulls. And I'm going to do a whole video on the Chicago Bulls, so just wait for it. It's coming out soon. But I just don't think that with what they have around them now, that the Nets will be the dominant force in the East. I just don't see it. Not unless and the X factor is not Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is going to give you 30 to 40 points a game. He's going to give you some assists. He's going to give you some defense. He's going to give you a little bit of everything reliably every night. Don't get me wrong, even the best players have an off night. So not to say that Kevin Durant doesn't have his off nights, but he's a pretty dependable guy offensively and defensively. He's really not the issue. The issue, I believe, is two things. Number one, well, it's a few things, but number one, James Harden's conditioning is clearly not there. James Harden has to have a shift in the way that he plays in order to be as effective offensively as he used to be, and it's going to require that conditioning, require a level of physical exertion that he hasn't necessarily had to give in order to get open and score, and it's going to require that he attack the basket a lot more than he ever has had to. And it'll be interesting to see if he's going to be able to rise to that level in the short term. And so we'll see what happens with that. So let's get to what I believe is the more interesting of these two stories. Russell Westbrook's crazy play. You know, this is about the third or fourth time that I've talked about Russell Westbrook, and I don't get tired of it because I keep saying the same thing over again. It feels like I'm banging my head against a brick wall, a Russell Westbrook wall. Anyway, I always preface everything I say about Russell Westbrook by saying this, and I'm going to say it again. Russell Westbrook is a future Hall of Famer. Russell Westbrook is a dynamic athlete. Russell Westbrook has achieved some things on the basketball court that many people will never achieve in their life. And for that, he deserves our respect. And one thing you can't say about Russell Westbrook is that he doesn't love the game of basketball, that he's not a team player, and that he doesn't want to do his best to win. But it comes down now to the mental, not the physical. The physical aspect of basketball has never truly been a challenge for Russell Westbrook. Look at the man. He keeps himself in tip-top shape. He's always ready to play unless he's injured. He shows up. You can tell he's giving everything that he's got, and he wants to will his team to win. But the decision making, the mental precision that is required of a point guard that is his age. The man is in his 30s. He is not brand new to this. This is not the first time somebody has given him a basketball and said, Russell, lead us. Take us to the promised land. And he has had many good games where he has done just that. But when you watch the game last night against his old team, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they had a 26-point lead. Your boy had 10 turnovers. And if you go back and you watch the turnovers, these are turnovers that are egregious. Everybody turns the ball over. There are very few players that are that precise with the basketball. But it is a reasonable expectation that if you are a point guard and you have been in the league for over a decade, that you've been playing basketball as a point guard, as a guard, since you were a teenager or a prepubescent teenager, you should know by now how to manage a basketball game if you're calling yourself a point guard. And when you watch him, he has moments where you can see he's a point guard. You know, he can pass the ball effectively. He can assist. He's one of the best rebounding point guards I've ever seen in my life. He can get to the basket and score. He's strong. He's fast. He used to be one of the fastest guys in the league. Those days are behind him, and to be expected. He's in his 30s now. But he's still hanging. He's still hanging up there as far as speed and the physicality that's required of a guard. He's got all that. But he is literally throwing the ball to fans in the stands. And I'll be sitting there like, who is he passing the ball to? And so what I think, again, and I'm going to say this, and maybe one day he'll listen to one of these videos that I've done and he'll hear me. Slow down, Russ. I used to be a point guard, so I see what you're doing. In your mind, you're seeing the play. You know exactly where people are supposed to be. And you're passing the ball to the area of the court where you're expecting that person to be, but they're not there yet. You haven't seen them. You haven't made that connection with them. when a point guard is playing that type of game where they're trying to stay ahead of the play, you have to make some eye contact. You got to be like a football player, have some signals or something. You got to let brothers know that you're coming for them faster than maybe what they're expecting you to come at them with the ball. So I'm just like sitting there thinking, man, who is he passing to? And let's not even start with the jump shot. Let's not start with the jump shot. Let's not start with the jump shot. I mean, Russ, I was watching some highlights from when you played that series against the Lakers with back in OKC, back in the back days, back when you had Russell, Westbrook, James Harden, and KD. You had a jump shot, and boy, that jump shot was pretty. It seems like every year the jump shot just goes down and down and down. And I don't understand. It's like clang, bang, clang, 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 bang, 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 and then he makes one. And then clang, 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 bang, bang, and then he makes one. It's just completely inconsistent, completely unreliable, and it's a little bit unforgivable at this point because it's not like you never had a shot. Your shot has not been like the best shot, but your jump shot is like I just don't understand. And I guess my expectations for a player your age is that you're gonna have some of these things figured out, that you'll have an off night here and there, but you cannot average 9 to 14 turnovers per game and expect for the Lakers to win in a championship because every night, every single night, when you put on that purple and gold, the same purple and gold that was worn by Kareem, the same purple and gold that was worn by Magic, that was worn by Kobe, that was now being worn by LeBron James, and now being worn by you. People are going to bring their A game. You have the biggest target on your back, and it's the purple and gold. This is the winningest team in basketball. It's one of the most celebrated franchises in the history of basketball. And when people play against folks wearing that jersey, they're playing for Kobe. They're playing for Magic. They're playing for something deeper than, like they say, it's bigger than basketball. It's a spiritual thing. People are coming after you, so you cannot give them 14 opportunities to have the ball back and do something with it. You just can't throw the ball away like that. But I'm hoping that the Lakers will figure it out. I'm hoping that they find the chemistry and the synergy that they need in order to win. It's inexcusable to lose against a team that's built like the OKC Thunder, and it just gives me a lot of concern. But I know that LeBron James has a level of leadership and is able to bring teams together. So hopefully this isn't what's that, Cleveland 2.0 when they brought all those players in, it just blew up in their face. But we shall see. I love you guys. I appreciate all of you for if you made it to this point in the video. If not, I still love you. Don't again forget to subscribe, comment, like the video. And if you have your own thoughts, feel free to drop it in the comment section. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and be blessed. I'm out.